Hello, how are you? Today I'm going to talk to you about the real cause of mucus in the throat, that slime, that secretion that many people feel in their throat. It makes you want to keep coughing. It makes you want to clear your throat to try to get rid of it. Some people try to spit, and all the time that mucus is coming down, sometimes it feels like something in the throat, sometimes it feels like something coming down from the nose. After all, why does this happen? What can you do to improve this? If you are currently suffering from this mucus in the throat, what can you do to improve this situation right now? Stay until the end, you won't want to miss it. If you love tips on nutrition, health, and fitness, you will love the channel, so take the opportunity to subscribe. Remember to activate the bell to receive notifications. I have new videos every day. You will love them for sure. If you love these videos where I talk more about the relationship between diet and these health issues we face daily, go ahead and give it a like. And let me know down below if you struggle with this mucus, this phlegm, this goo in your throat, whether it's more in the morning after eating or more at night. Write to me down here in the comments. I would love to read your comment. As I mentioned, this goo, this secretion affects many people, and some suffer a lot. And it's very annoying, especially nowadays, to have a cough that won't go away or that phlegm that makes everyone look at you. It seems like you have some illness, some problem, a cold, and we even feel a bit embarrassed because you have the urge to keep coughing all the time to clear your throat. And it seems that the more you do this, the worse the mucus gets, and it often irritates the throat even more. So there are people who even go to the doctor with a sore throat and say, my throat is hurting. And the doctor says, but there's nothing here. It's nothing related to the otolaryngological area. There's nothing there. No need to prescribe antibiotics. Nothing needs to be done. So why does this happen? Let's talk more about this. You might have what is called silent reflux, which is also known as laryngopharyngeal reflux. Often when we talk about reflux, people think of the classic reflux, which is gastroesophageal reflux, usually accompanied by that burning sensation in the stomach, that burning feeling, that sensation as if something is coming back up your throat, that sour taste in the mouth. This can occasionally happen to some people when the reflux sometimes rises in this part of the esophagus, but other people have what is called laryngopharyngeal reflux, meaning this acidic gastric content rises through the larynx in the throat. So actually it doesn't stop in the mouth because there are parallel tubes here inside our neck. We have the esophagus, which is where the food goes down, and we have the larynx, which is where the air passes through and where the vocal cords are, where we speak. So sometimes this reflux can be related to this acidity, which instead of rising to the esophagus, rises to the larynx and ends up sensitizing this area. And when we have some certain agent that makes our body sensitive, it ends up being a reaction of our own body to produce mucus, to try to protect this wall. Neither the larynx nor the pharynx nor the esophagus were made to have an acidic secretion. The only environment in our body that has a structure adapted for this is the stomach, which precisely has mucus there and has a specific epithelium that withstands that higher acidity, but other areas of our body do not. So it produces this mucus to try to coat the wall and prevent damage from the acidity. What happens to many people is precisely this throat clearing, this sensation of a lump in the throat, this feeling of something here in the throat. People sometimes have that throat clearing, trying to spit. Sometimes when they spit, a thick, clear mucus comes out. There's no phlegm, no secretion. It's not green, it's not yellow. So it's nothing related to an infection. It can even get infected later if this acidic stimulus actually causes an injury. It may be that with the injury, you also have a bacterial infection due to the fact that it's actually injured. This can happen at another time, but really in the beginning, what happens to many people is that mucus, that slime, and many people end up even getting hoarse because of this. I don't know if this has ever happened to you. If it has, leave a comment below for me, but from clearing their throat so much, and that sensation of having to clear your throat and the urge to cough. After all, what should you do to improve this cough, this mucus? The person strains their throat so much that they end up getting hoarse and even change their voice for a few days. One detail that also happens is that many people keep clearing their throat with a lot of force. They keep clearing their throat. That sensation of throat clearing, it causes that itch due to this mucus, and the person keeps trying to clear it. So this very throat clearing, this very cough, which sometimes starts as a cough the person uses to try to clear it and then becomes an uncontrollable cough, causes an itch. All of this also harms the vocal cords, and it really does. It irritates, attacks, and inflames this area more. What to do about this? You have already noticed that the cause of this is in your stomach, which is related to reflux. This gastric content that should be staying there, it should be going down to the intestine, but it is coming up. The lower esophageal sphincter is looser. There are some foods that you should avoid consuming on a daily basis to prevent this from getting even worse. Certainly. But always remember that if you have constant reflux, whether it is gastroesophageal or this silent reflux I mentioned, it is very important that you consult your doctor so that they can indeed diagnose which type of reflux it is, what is the best medication, because in many cases you will need medication at least to control it initially. And then you can also work with a nutritionist to modify your diet to prevent future episodes. It is very important that you avoid certain foods. I will even talk about what you can do to improve this cough, this mucus, but I will talk about the foods first, which I think is important for you to know. Avoid certain foods that make this valve I mentioned more relaxed. So caffeine, peppermint, all of these are known to relax this valve we have, which should close off the stomach opening to prevent contents from rising to the esophagus. Avoid consuming them to prevent this muscle, this sphincter from becoming more relaxed and the contents from refluxing upwards. Be careful with foods and drinks that are naturally very acidic. So tomatoes, surprisingly, can worsen the symptoms for people. Citrus fruits in large quantities can also exacerbate this for individuals. White flour, many people report that when they consume it, it worsens the acidity and they experience more reflux symptoms as well. It is very important to avoid as much as possible smoking and alcoholic beverages. Alcoholic drinks also significantly relax the lower esophageal sphincter, making gastric contents reflux more easily. And cigarette smoke also significantly and noticeably irritates the esophageal wall and even the larynx. So it is very important that you avoid smoking, especially because smoking also relaxes this lower esophageal sphincter. Therefore, if you smoke or drink, stop doing so to prevent these conditions from worsening. It is very important that you try to divide your meals throughout the day, eating in small portions. So instead of having a very large meal at lunch or dinner, divide it into more meals of smaller volume throughout the day. Try to make digestion faster. So at this initial stage, the ideal is to have a milder, more pasty diet that you can digest more quickly, spending less time in the stomach. The longer the food stays in the stomach, the more fat it has, the longer it stays there processing, the greater the chance it will come back up. We want it to pass more quickly to the intestine. The more semi-processed your food is, the better. For example, purees and ground meat instead of a steak are interesting options for you to consume rather than a consistency that will take longer to be digested in the stomach. And it is also very important that you do not eat or drink anything 2 or 3 hours before sleeping, and that whenever possible, you keep the head of the bed elevated. You can place a pillow under your mattress because if you put it under your body, sometimes you move during the night and the pillow ends up at your feet. So place the pillow under the mattress to lift it to create an angle, or you can buy some wedges and place them on your bed so it stays at the angle you need in an easier way. And it is also important that you do not consume anything in excess. Excessive food and drink are not ideal 2 or 3 hours before you lie down. I say this because sometimes you want to have a glass of water, something like that, and that's not a problem. But if it's food, you should really avoid it, and also avoid excessive liquids, because otherwise when you go to sleep, your stomach will be full and then you lie down, everything is horizontal, and it is easier for it to reflux into your esophagus as well. So give it that interval. Let's now talk about what you should do if you currently have this mucus to try to alleviate the itching and discomfort and not have so much mucus, a hoarse voice, and a sore throat from coughing and scratching so much. There are 3 things you can do quickly that will help you with this unpleasant sensation in your throat. First, take a sip of water. Whenever you feel mucus, something stuck or itching, Keep a bottle of water by your side and take small sips throughout the day, because this will thin the mucus and help it go down, making it easier. Another thing you can do is, instead of coughing, having that sensation of needing to cough, that throat clearing, try swallowing. It's another reflex you can use, and in any case, you will dislodge the mucus in the same way. It will facilitate this detachment, so instead of trying to expel, try swallowing gently, because then you suppress a bit of that repetitive reflex of coughing and scratching your throat. Then finally, one thing you can do is try placing your hand over your throat near the vocal cords gently, and try to massage and give a light cough, but not in a way that irritates the throat, feeling that you are stimulating more here to make the mucus go down. But usually when you drink water and when you swallow, instead of trying to spit or cough, you can improve and better control this cough. Tell me down below if you feel this mucus, this slime, what color it is, if you have been diagnosed with reflux before, and what you did to improve it. I would love to see your comment. Like the video and share it with those who will enjoy or need it. Let's together expand this chain of good. See you next time. Bye.